Good morning. Welcome to the 2021 Skills for California Summit. We're so excited to have you joining us over the next few days. I'm Zima Creason, Executive Director of the California Edge Coalition. Skills for California is a collaboration between the California Edge Coalition and the National Skills Coalition that brings together a statewide network of organizations advancing workforce development policies that remove systematic barriers and promote an inclusive economy for all Californians. We are proud to count many of you and your organizations as one of our network partners. I'd like to take a moment to recognize and thank the James Irvine Foundation and the Tipping Point Foundation for their partnership and support that made this gathering possible. This past year and a half has been a challenge for everyone, not only as individuals trying to support our own families, but as advocates working to ensure equitable pandemic response and recovery. And because of all the hard work and unwavering commitment by the workforce and advocacy communities, we are starting to see a light at the end of this very long tunnel. The pandemic had an unprecedented emotional and economic imprint on California's communities and economy. Skills for California continues to call on our state leaders to use every policy lever possible to immediately protect and support workers, communities, and businesses. As the state charts a roadmap for recovery, we urge policymakers to create a better and fairer economic future for all Californians, where everyone has what they need to secure good jobs. Based on the network's principles of equity, pathways to good jobs, and systems innovation, Skills for California promotes workforce development initiatives that center the voices of workers, particularly workers of color, and support the workforce needs of high-road employers. Skills for California believes that workforce development strategies should create equitable pathways to good jobs that are safe, free from discrimination and harassment, pay family-supporting wages, provide valuable benefits, welcome workers' concerns and ideas, provide opportunities for advancement, and give employees the stability, predictability, and support necessary to take care of family needs. The good news is that with California's historic budget surplus, we have a once-in-a-generation opportunity, as described by our friends in the governor's office, to impact real change and advance our shared goals. All of us on the Skills for California team applaud Governor Gavin Newsom and the state legislature for uplifting the importance of prioritizing workforce needs and making substantial investments so that Californians and industry have access to the support and resources necessary for long-term success. Throughout this summit, you will have the opportunity to hear from a variety of experts working in their sectors to advance our shared goals. And you'll have an opportunity to engage in this important work. Again, welcome to the 2021 Skills for California Summit. I'm so glad that you're here, and I really look forward to collaboration. Next, I'd like to pass the mic to Melissa Johnson with the National Skills Coalition. Melissa, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Zima, for kicking us off. I'm Melissa Johnson, Managing Director of State Strategies at National Skills Coalition, and we are so excited that all of you all are here with us today. Please feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat on the right-hand side of the screen, and if there are any questions, please put them in the Q&A box, also on the right-hand side of your screen. And we will do our best to address those questions either here or during the breakout sessions. While we recognize that we cannot be together in person this year, we do want this summit to feel like we are all in the same room and part of a community with a shared mission to advance workforce development policies that remove systemic barriers and promote an inclusive economy for all Californians. That said, feel free to continue to utilize the chat and Q&A boxes to your right throughout this session. And just to note that all of the breakout sessions will be on Zoom so that in some cases, you'll be able to see one another and to interact with one another while we work together towards our shared goal. To get a feel for who's in our virtual room, we are actually going to open it up with a poll. So please navigate to the poll section on the right side of your screen. And for our first poll, we want to know where you are coming from. And our choices are the regions of the great state of California: Superior, far north, North Coast, Bay Area, Northern San Joaquin Valley, Central Coast, Southern San Joaquin Valley, Inland Empire, Los Angeles County, Orange County, and San Diego, Imperial counties. And I will give folks just a couple more seconds to get those answers in. Great. It looks like we have great representation, at least representation across all of these different regions, with representation, heavy representation from Los Angeles County and the Inland Empire. We are so happy to have people here from regions throughout California so that we can learn about promising practices from across this great state and the policies that enable those practices, all while having the chance to connect with people from across the state. Also, with multiple legislator meetings set up for later in the week, having people from all over California increases the chances that legislators will be able to hear about workforce issues from people within their own districts. And that, of course, maximizes the effectiveness of our collective advocacy. So next, we'd like to get a feel for how you all have been involved with Skills for California. In our next poll, we like to ask if you are a member of our Leadership Council, if you've attended a webinar or webinars, have you signed a letter, a budget letter, or a letter supporting broadband? Did you attend the in-person 2019 Skills for California Summit? Or is this your first Skills for California event? And I will give folks a few more seconds to get those answers in. Wow, it looks like for a number of you all, it is your first Skills for California event, which is great. It's great to have so many people who have been involved with Skills for California before, but it's also great to have so many people who are new to our efforts as well. And for those of you all who are new to Skills for California, please know that even beyond this week's events, we'll be offering ways to engage with us throughout the year. So please stay tuned for those activities. And then finally, for our last poll, before I hand it over to my colleague, India, who will tell you more about the 2021 Skills for California policy priorities, we also know that we have stakeholders from a number of different entities: workforce boards, nonprofit training providers, labor, state employees from the executive and legislative branches, chambers of commerce, small business owners, community colleges, and more. So with this next poll, we'd like to get a feel for what types of entities everyone is coming from. So the poll question asks you, how would you describe the entity that you represent? And I will give folks some time to get those answers in. Great. It looks like we have representation from across a number of different areas: workforce boards, a number of folks who are nonprofit training providers. Our other category, our catch-all category, is heavily represented as well. We know it, we have our foundation friends with us as well. And like I said, for those of you all who are new to Skills for California, we look forward to learning more about you all during the sessions during today and for tomorrow as well. One of the best things about these Skills for California events is discussing and advocating for workforce safety net and job quality issues from different angles, but with one unified voice. So it's great to see so many people from so many different entities represented here today. So now that we have a better idea about who's in our virtual room together, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, India Hextall, with the National Skills Coalition, to dive a little deeper into the 2021 Skills for California priorities.
Thank you, Melissa. I'm India Hextall, a policy analyst at the National Skills Coalition, and we are so glad that you joined us today. So let's dive into the Skills for California policy priorities. As Zima mentioned, Skills for California is a statewide network of organizations advancing workforce development policies that remove systemic barriers and promote an inclusive economy for all Californians. The network's 2021 policy priorities support the workforce needs of high-road employers and center the voices of workers, particularly workers of color. Our first policy priority is to protect and expand funding for workforce development to enable equal access for workers to good jobs. This policy priority is focused on creating more access to workforce development programs for marginalized communities through flexible, outcome-oriented, and equity-focused funding processes to support culturally and linguistically competent community-based organizations in delivering services, as well as provide multi-year funding allocations for new workforce development programs that support program design, startup, implementation, and evaluation, in order to enable continuity of programming and to verify that programs are having intended results. Next, the network advocates for the expansion and increased understanding of good jobs, where worker voices are included in an agency's decision-making process. We also support the need for increased workplace safety standards, incentives for employers, workforce development organizations to create and support quality jobs, and paid quality training that prioritizes workers of color, and the expansion of earn and learn upskilling opportunities for incumbent workers in low-wage industries. In addition, we advocate for the utilization of the state's procurement and purchasing processes to incentivize businesses to adopt high-road, equitable policies and practices that better support employees. Our strengthening and securing a social safety net that supports pathways to good jobs policy priority includes increasing the availability and accessibility of social safety net resources to California's most vulnerable workers and communities to meet their basic needs, such as food, healthcare, housing, and childcare as they work to achieve their career goals. We also advocate for increasing funding for state financial relief and safety net support to undocumented workers and mixed status families who do not qualify for federal relief or benefits programs due to their immigration status, and increasing access to supportive programming and services for people who have been formerly incarcerated. Additionally, we are working to support and expand industry-specific training and hiring strategies that lead to good jobs by advocating for the expansion of high-road industry partnerships that engage multiple business leaders and labor organizations within an industry with a range of education, training, and service providers. We also support the preservation and funding expansion of industry-based job training and pre-apprenticeship, apprenticeship, and paid work-based learning, particularly for workers of color, immigrants, women, and other marginalized Californians. We also advocate for investments in infrastructure, such as infrastructure for climate resilience and public health to create good jobs. We also support career and technical education, which includes expanding access to short-term and long-term training opportunities and identifying ways for adults to earn quality, industry-recognized credentials, certificates, and degrees in an accelerated fashion. We support policies centered on securing financial aid to assist with the costs such as tuition, books, digital devices, and other supply costs, as well as assistance for basic needs such as food, childcare, and housing, so that students are able to continue to work to achieve their education and career goals. We also encourage the creation of new partnerships between education and training providers and employers to invest in career advancement for low-wage frontline workers. We are strong supporters of policies that center adult learners, such as the ability to benefit, where adult learners can qualify for financial aid without a high school diploma, and dual enrollment policies that allow adult learners to earn college credit as they earn their high school equivalency. Lastly, we are proponents of expanding access to digital skill building, up-to-date digital devices, and affordable broadband access so that more Californians can secure benefits, services, education, and other online training programs. So with this next poll, we'd like to get a feel for which of these policy priorities are most important to you. We'd like to know if one of the 6 policies listed on your screen is most important to you. And these are protect and expand funding for workforce development to enable equal access for good workers to good jobs, expand and increase understanding of good jobs, strengthening and securing a social safety net that supports pathways to good jobs, supporting and expanding industry-specific training and hiring strategies that lead to good jobs, supporting and expanding career and technical education, and last but not least, expanding digital access and learning. I'll give folks a few minutes to complete the poll. It's so good to see such widespread interest in the Skills for California priorities, particularly in protecting and expanding funding for workforce development to enable equitable access for workers to good jobs, along with supporting and expanding career technical education and in the expansion of digital access and learning. We'll be discussing these topics throughout our sessions over the next couple of days. As you may have noticed in our 2021 action agenda, we highlighted some of the key legislative policies that align with our 2021 policy priorities. These policies are needed to bolster a healthy and equitable economic recovery for California. With that, I'm going to turn it back to my colleague Melissa to say more about our summit schedule. Take it away.
Thank you so much, India. Just a quick overview of our agenda for the next couple of days. Following this morning's session, we will have at least a 15-minute break before 3 concurrent breakout sessions, and then a quick wrap-up that will take us to 1 p.m. If you are one of our first 150 registrants, thank you. We hope all of you received a welcome box from this event, and we want you to enjoy lunch on us since we cannot enjoy it together in person. Tomorrow, we will head straight into another round of engaging and insightful breakout sessions at 11 a.m. Then later in the afternoon at 12:40 p.m., unfortunately, we will not hear from Michael Tubbs, who planned to speak with you all live. In his role as senior advisor to Governor Gavin Newsom, he was called away to a meeting with him during that time. We do have a great opportunity tomorrow to hear from Assembly Member Ash Kalra, chair of the Labor Committee in the California Legislature. about his efforts to create an inclusive, equitable economy for all Californians, along with legislators. And now for our last poll of this plenary session, we'd like to do a temperature check on what you all are hoping to get out of this summit. And our choices are learning more from the panelists about promising practices and policies, connecting with other workforce advocates, and learning more about Skills for California. And I will give folks a few seconds to complete that poll. Great. It looks like we have energy across all three of these choices, with a lot of energy around learning about promising practices and policies. And energy across all three of these choices is great because you will have the chance to do all three of these things here at the California Summit, Skills for California Summit. Throughout the next few days, you will have the opportunity to bring your on-the-ground expertise to bear in state policy discussions, learn from statewide peers, and connect virtually with leaders from different types of organizations and regions, and create and amplify a unified voice in support of state policies that enable and reflect what is going on the local level. Starting at 11 a.m., you will have the opportunity to choose between 3 different breakout sessions led by the National Skills Coalition and the California EDGE Coalition. Today's sessions are the following: Addressing Race and Gender Equity, SHE session, Job Placement and Unemployment, which will focus on what California can do to ensure that recovery efforts include and support women, particularly women of color. Second, during the Advancing Workforce Development through Earn and Learn model session, panelists will discuss how to expand current training models to underrepresented workers and what policymakers can do to help workers access the right training and experience to enter these in-demand jobs. And then finally, improving job quality and strengthening social safety net programs for California workers. In that session, they will discuss how to ensure greater fairness and opportunity for workers earning low wages and supporting worker safety net programs. These breakout sessions will provide the opportunity for you all to hear from experts on pertinent issues impacting California workers. A description of each session can be found right here on the platform. We are delighted to have such a diverse group of powerful speakers, and we hope that each of you all share your key takeaways with us in the chat during the breakout sessions. After the breakout sessions, we hope to see you back here for a brief closing where we will spotlight what is in store for you all tomorrow. Right now, we will have a little more than a 15-minute break, so you have plenty of time to go get your coffee, your tea, your snacks from your welcome box, and come back at 11 a.m. to join the breakout sessions via the links further down on your screen. And those links will take you to the various Zoom rooms. Thank you, everyone, for your energy that I felt even on this side of the screen. Thank you for your participation in our polls, and we will see you later this afternoon.